Part 70. The Sweetness of the Seventies. Author, Chi-Sing Cao. Chapter 693. 691. Wu Yaoliang was surprised and a little puzzled. Jingli, isn't that your fellow countryman? Wu Yaoliang asked. Last time I met this woman at the door of my house, this was how my wife introduced her. He Tian and Kui Ying looked at each other for a moment. Huang Jingli hasn't told Wu Yaoliang the truth yet? Huang Jingli smiled bitterly and said, I haven't told Yaoliang yet. What did you say? Wu Yaoliang asked, did that woman bully you? We'll talk about it when we get home, Huang Jingli said, I can feel relieved now that I've told you. Seeing his wife's expression like this, Wu Yaoliang was in a state of confusion. He didn't know what his wife was saying and was always thinking about bad things. When they arrived at home, he Tian, Kui Ying, and Huashan went to the kitchen and cooked by themselves while letting the couple talk in the room. Huang Jingli told Wu Yaoliang exactly what happened. Wu Yaoliang was stunned, and then said angrily, this matter was originally made out of nothing. The first time that woman came to threaten you, you should have told me, instead of feeling sad alone. Do you believe me? Huang Jingli was moved, as if she had someone to rely on. Whether your style is good or not, no one has more say than me. When you were with me, you were still a young girl. Wu Yaoliang chuckled, I won't believe those nonsense words. Do you really believe me? Huang Jingli asked, she wanted to know after feeling no burden in her heart. Wu Yaoliang took out a handkerchief to wipe Huang Jingli's tears, and said with a smile, as the saying goes, birds of a feather flock together, and people flock together. Then he Tian, Huo Yingjia, Huashan, and Kui Ying are all people of high moral character and integrity. If you are not such a person, how can they be friends with you? Thank you. Huang Jingli no longer has her natal family, and she doesn't want these messy things to affect her current family. Okay, my parents will tell them that if you are upright, you are not afraid of the shadow, and don't be afraid of her threats. Wu Yaoliang encouraged, let's live a good life and ignore that crazy woman. After the two talked, Wu Yaoliang came over to help cook together. Thank you all these days. Wu Yaoliang smiled, if it weren't for you, Jingli would probably be in trouble again. It's okay, we are friends and classmates, he Tian said, but you still have to be careful. That woman Lin Xiru is just a piece of dogskin plaster. It's hard to peel off after it sticks. You have to be careful in the future and don't fall into her trap. The trap. He Tianation's description is not pleasant, but it is very appropriate. Well, she is a woman, and I don't care about her. As long as Jingli and I are fine, my parents love Jingli, and the school teachers understand Jingli, then there is nothing to be afraid of. Wu Yaoliang said, he would not act stupidly. Beating Lin Xiru gave that woman a chance to act up. Doing so will only make him passive, and he may even be arrested and imprisoned for a few days for assaulting women. It's good if you can figure it out, Kui Ying said with a smile. Okay, the food is ready, quickly ask Jingli to come out to eat. During the meal, Huang Jingli regained her previous cheerfulness and gained her husband's understanding. She felt no burden and felt relaxed. Let's say that after Lin Xiru left, she did not leave immediately and was aggrieved. Looking at the watch on his wrist, he saw that class was about to begin, so he had to leave quickly. I came here again in vain today and didn't get any money. Lin Xiru looked at the old-fashioned clothes on her body and felt particularly unhappy. There are many tailor shops now, and as long as you have money, you can buy fabrics and make clothes without a ticket. But the small amount of allowance given by the school was only enough for her to eat and could not meet her need to buy clothes at all. So she thought of Huang Jingli and spent a lot of effort to find Huang Jingli. Unexpectedly, Huang Jingli is already married. Judging from Huang Jingli's clothes, her family conditions should be good. But Huang Jingli seems to be a blind man, a college student, and looking for a man with that kind of appearance. But it doesn't matter, That man is ugly and he won't live with her. Lin Xiru only thought that after getting money from Huang Jingli, she could live a free and unrestrained life. However, she didn't expect that Huang Jingli would turn her back on him and refuse to lend her any money. She has many means, let's see how long Huang Jingli can last. He Tian was riding her bicycle after school in the evening, thinking about today's events. If Lin Xiru didn't come to trouble her, she would ignore Lin Xiru. Some people are mean, but she can't be willing to be so mean and care about such people. He Tian returned home, played with her children for a while, and then went to cook. Every day is such a fulfilling life, and time flies very fast. In the blink of an eye, Huo Yingja has been gone for a month. He Tian received a letter from Huo Yingja 2 days later. After receiving the letter, He Tian replied to Huo Yingja. Today Huo Ruimin drew an abstract family portrait. On it is a son that looks like it has been chewed by a dog. 4 people are outlined with strange lines in the middle. 2 adults are on the sides and 2 children are in the middle. Only a few hairs on the head can distinguish men and women. The 3 short hairs on the head are Huo Yingja and Huo Ruwa, the 3 long hairs on the head are He Tian and Huo Ruimin. There are still some hairs on the ground. These are not hairs, but weeds. In the corner, there is something like a stone with a stick-like head on it, 2 eyes, 1 big and 1 small, and 4 short legs. This is a little spinner turtle. Ruwa, my sister drew a family portrait for Dad. Do you have anything you want to give to Dad? He Tian asked. Her son was too bored to take the initiative, so whenever she had the chance, she tried her best to communicate with Huo Ruwa. Communicate more. Huo Ruwa thought for a while, then ran into the house, took out the slingshot that he had broken, and said, "Give it to Dad. This brat is full of evil ideas. This is not a gift for Dad. It is obviously meant to be sent to Huo Yingja, and then Huo Yingja can fix it for him or make a new one for him." Okay, He Tian took it and said, "I'll send it to your father." "Mom, when will Daddy come back?" Huo Ruimin hugged her mother's legs and said coquettishly, stretching out her fingers to count, "I have kissed Daddy many times, countless times, but Daddy just won't return." For a month, every morning when she got up and every night when she went to bed, Huo Ruimin would hug Huo Yingja's photo frame and kiss it. "Kiss me 100 more times, and Daddy will come back," He Tian replied, feeling a little sour. 100 times, Huo Ruimin was surprised. He stretched out his hands and counted them, but found that he couldn't count them. "It's over. Dad doesn't love us anymore." "Why do you say that?" He Tian asked. The child's thinking was interesting. Because, 100 times are too many, I can't count them," Huo Ruimin said. "If you can't count, you won't kiss me enough. If you don't kiss me enough, Dad won't come." "Haha, it's okay. If Ruimin and mother study together, we can count them all," He Tian said, turning the child's longing for Huo Yingja to studying. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 694. 692. Children's emotions come and go quickly. When I heard my mother talk about studying, I started to say that I was smart and powerful. He Tian patiently taught the children to learn and count. However, in his heart, he was missing Huo Yingja just like the child. If only I could count to 100, I could really see Huo Yingja. All the words were lied to by He Tian. Now that the child is still young, he can lie. But when he is older and more sensible, he will no longer be able to lie like this. Let's say that when Huo Yingja left that day, he saw He Tian sleeping soundly. He just kissed He Tian on the face, covered her with a thin blanket, and left with a gentle bow. Huo Jekan and Zhang Lifang sent Huo Yingja off. Seeing that He Tian didn't come, he thought she was taking care of her children at home or was sad, so she didn't ask any more questions. Huo Yingzhe got on the train. As the train accelerated, Nanshi railway station became smaller and smaller before he withdrew his eyes. Looking again, she could not be seen. Look again, we have to leave here. I got off the train at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Someone came to pick up Huo Yingzhe outside. They were old acquaintances, Zhang Aijun and Li Yunzong. Aijun, Yunzong, are they you? Huo Yingzhe greeted, temporarily letting go of the disappointment in his heart. Men are like this, even if they feel sad, they won't show it. Zhang Aijun smiled and said, I heard you were coming, so we specially applied to pick you up. Come on, the car is outside. In fact, Huo Yingzhe didn't need so many salutes, but this was carefully prepared by He Tian. If she doesn't take it, she will feel sad. 3 whole bags. Zhang Aijun, Li Yunzong, and Huo Yingzhe moved to the car one by one. After getting in the car, Li Yunzong said with a smile, Brother Huo, welcome back, we all miss you very much. Haha, I miss you too, Huo Yingzhe said. Is the research institute still the same as before? A lot of people have been assigned, and after 2 or 3 years of construction, the Institute of Science and Technology is bigger than before, Li Yunzong said. There are also many projects, and the welfare benefits are better than before. That's good, Huo Yingzhe smiled. He still had feelings for Nanshi Science and Technology Research Institute. It's just that Mr. Sun's health is not as good as before, Zhang Aijun said. I went to the hospital once last month. The doctor said that Mr. Sun should have a good rest. However, he couldn't let go of such a big undertaking in the research institute. As soon as he was discharged from the hospital, just started working. Huo Yingzhe was stunned and asked, General Manager Sun is hospitalized. What's wrong with him? It's just too tired and exhausted, Zhang Aijun said. Don't you know? I thought Zhou Yuanchao would tell you. Huo Yingzhe shook his head and said, I don't know. If he had known, he would have applied to visit his old man earlier. The main reason why I have different feelings about the Institute of Science and Technology is that there are General Engineer Sun, Zhou Yuanchao, and Li, and several colleagues who work together. Fortunately, it's not a serious problem, but I can't work as hard as before, Zhang Aijun said. You are Mr. Sun's favorite student. When you arrive at the research institute, if you have time, give him some advice. The work is never done. Yes, you can't work so hard, assign tasks and let young people work hard. Yes, I will, Huo Yingzhe nodded. It was time to persuade the old man. Li Yunzong drove and asked Huo Yingzhe what was going on outside from time to time. Huo Yingzhe also asked about some things about the institute. Because they were colleagues, Li Yunzong and Zhang Aijun did not hide anything from Huo Yingzhe. As long as they knew, they told Huo Yingzhe. An hour later, we finally arrived at the Nanshi Science and Technology Research Institute. After a series of inspections, it was released. Zhang Aijun and Li Yunzong drove directly to the dormitory building. At Huo Yingzhe's level, he can be assigned a 2-bedroom room. Huo Yingzhe is married, and the single dormitory is no longer suitable for him. The interior has been tidied up, both bedrooms face the sun, and the lines are very good. The living room is also quite large, with new sofas, small tables, and chairs. Huo Yingzhe was very satisfied and nodded, okay, thank you for your hard work. You're welcome, Comrade Huo, you take a rest first, and we'll leave first, Zhang Aijun said. It was already 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and they had to go back to resume their duties. Okay, I'll treat you to dinner another day, Huo Yingzhe said, always grateful to the two of them. I heard Zhou Yuanchao say that at that secret base, if Zhang Aijun and Li Yunzong had not picked him up, Zhou Yuanchao would not have stayed there to continue the experiment, but would have personally escorted him to Yanjing. After the two left, Huo Yingzhe opened the closet, sorted his clothes into categories, hung them up, and took out all the toiletries and slippers inside. After putting away his clothes, Huo Yingji took out the quilt and put it on the mattress, made the bed, and took out several exquisite photo frames from his bag, which contained their family photos, Nation single photos, photos of their children, and there a photo of the couple. Kissing the children and wife in the photo frame, Huo Yingji put them away again. Just as we were finishing up here, we heard a dong-dong knock on the door. Huo Yingji opened the door and saw someone knocking on the door opposite. The person who opened the door was Wang Ying, Zhou Yuanchao's daughter-in-law. This daughter-in-law was helped by Zhang Lifang. After the two got married, after review and transfer, Wang Ying came directly to work in the hospital in the Weapons Research Institute, and the husband and wife followed. "Brother Huo, are you here already?" Wang Ying said with a smile. "My family lives across from yours. Yuan Chao told me early in the morning that if you come over in the afternoon, I will come over often to visit." "Haha, where are the aides to Korea?" Huo Yingji asked. "You haven't gotten off work yet." "He hasn't gotten off work yet," Wang Ying said with a smile. "Brother Huo, don't eat yet. Let's go to Mr. Sun's house for dinner today." "Okay, I understand." Huo Yingji smiled. "I still have some things to sort out." "Then I won't disturb Brother Huo. You go about your business first." Wang Ying smiled and went back first. "Wait a minute, I'll bring something to eat together." "I'll give you a pack." Huo Yingji walked into the room and took a pack of biscuits that Tian had brought from the store, weighing 2 or 3 kilograms. "Thank you, Brother Huo." Wang Ying was not polite and took it back to the house. Huo Yingji changed into a blue tunic suit, black leather shoes, and combed his hair, looking very energetic. Now that he is here, Huo Yingji must work hard. Only when you reach the upper levels can you be qualified to formulate relevant rules. He doesn't care about money or welfare. Anyway, his wife is rich and the family is not short of money. What he needs is time and vacation. If there is a vacation, he can go home more often. Zhou Yuanchao got off work. Instead of going home, he knocked on Huo Yingji's door first. Huo Yingji opened the door and saw an excited Zhou Yuanchao. He smiled and said, "Is there a dog chasing you behind?" "Boss, what you say is unreasonable. I ran all the way back just to see you earlier," Zhou Yuanchao complained, but he didn't expect to receive such words from the boss. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 695. 693. I feel so good when I see my good brother. Haha, didn't you say we were going to Mr. Sun's place? Go call your wife, and we'll go there now, Huo Yingji said. He had prepared the things and just gave them to Mr. Sun and Aunt Li to express his feelings. Okay, Zhou Yuanchao said happily, let's go now. Zhou Yuanchao knocked on the door opposite. Wang Ying had already picked up her things and came out. Huo Yingji carried a large bag of pastries, including Western pastries and Chinese pastries, including hibiscus cake from Xinggualu. On the way, Zhou Yuanchao kept introducing the situation of the institute to Huo Yingji. Huo Yingji listened and asked some small questions to understand the situation here. I heard my husband say before that he and Huo Yingji have a good relationship, but I didn't expect it to be so good. Ever since Huo Yingji arrived, her husband Zhou Yuanchao had not even looked at her. Fortunately, Huo Yingji was already married, otherwise, she would have thought wrong. When we arrived at Mr. Sun's house, Aunt Li was cooking. Mr. Sun opened the door in person. Hello, Mr. Sunday. Huo Yingji stepped forward and saluted respectfully. He is a highly respected old man and is worthy of respect. Mr. Sun smiled and said very kindly, come in quickly. Come as soon as you come. What do you want to bring? Wang Ying stepped forward, helped pour the tea very familiarly, and said with a smile, General Manager Sun, This is the dried radish I made myself. I cut some in the morning and serve it with rice porridge, especially for rice. Okay, your Aunt Lee and I just like to eat the dried radish you made. Mr. Sun smiled. It doesn't matter what it is, it's just our sincerity. Huo Yingjia and Zhou Yuanchao sat down. Huo Yingjia took out the snacks from his bag, put them on the plate, and said, "These are the pastries sold in my wife's shop. They taste good, so I took some with me." "Okay, let me try it." Mr. Sun picked up a piece of butterfly cake and took a bite. "Well, it tastes good, very good. Your Aunt Lee must like it too. If you like it, I'll ask her to send more in the future," Huo Yingjia said with a smile. He hadn't been back for more than 3 years. Faced with Mr. Sun's kind attitude, he felt a little sorry. "Haha, I won't refuse this." Mr. Sun smiled. "Let me tell you the truth, the transfer order you received this time has nothing to do with me." "Aren't you the old one?" Huo Yingjia was surprised. "Who is that?" "In the Weapons Research Institute, apart from Chief Engineer Sun, Zhou Yuanchao wanted him to come back." "There should be no one else, right?" Chief Engineer Sun shook his head and said, "I don't know. When I got the letter, it was probably about the same time as when you received the transfer order. I hope you come back, but I want to wait until you graduate from college, not now." "If it wasn't you, then who could it be?" Huo Yingjia was worried. He could have figured it out, but it concerned himself and was constrained by heaven, so he couldn't see his own destiny clearly and couldn't make reasonable decisions. "Prediction. I'm asking you," said Mr. Sun, "but don't worry, this person probably has no ill intentions. If he wants to deal with you, he can take you to a remote research institute instead of his old unit." Huo Yingjia thought about it. Now the Huo family has entered a period of rapid and stable development, especially his father, who is a super dark horse. With his father and grandfather here, he is the third-generation ancestor who has his back against the big tree to enjoy the shade. However, some people just can't stand his leisurely life, and they probably want him to train hard and inherit the Huo family's business. This is a story for later. "Then I'll trouble you, Mr. Sunday." Huo Yingjia smiled. "I've been to college for 2 years. I wonder if I can get a college diploma." "Don't worry, I will communicate with your school. If you participate in the graduation project with a project, you will definitely be able to get a diploma," Mr. Sun said. "Although the certificate is not everything, since you have received it, there is no graduation certificate. What a shame." Zhou Yuanchao was stunned and asked, "Our projects are all confidential. Doesn't it violate the confidentiality rules to use it as a graduation thesis?" "Haha," Mr. Sun smiled, "of course I won't leak the secret." "Hey, when thinking about problems, you can't change your way of thinking. Since the paper can't be published, then I can be Yingjia's thesis tutor." "Ah," Zhou Yuanchao was stunned. "How can it be like this?" "Of course it can be like this," Mr. Sun said. "I used to be a teacher at Nanji University for 2 years. As long as I send a letter to reinstate my status as a teacher, I can tutor Huo Yingjia." "Haha, that's it," Zhou Yuanchao said with a smile. "Then if I study on my own, can I get a college certificate from you?" "Theoretically it's not possible, but in the future there may be plans for people who are already working and want to improve themselves. Then you can take the exam," Mr. Sun said. Zhou Yuanchao was asked to take the college entrance exam before, but the boy refused to go. Now he wants to. "I passed the exam, but I already have a family and a stable job, so I don't have time to go to school." "Then I'll leave it to General Engineer Sunday," Zhou Yuanchao said. "I feel a little itchy when I see that the boss is a college student. I asked you to take the exam before, but you didn't take it. Do you regret it now?" Mr. Sun smiled. "If you are willing, you can still do it now. I will keep your position for you." "No, I don't have the patience to go to school every day," Zhou Yuanchao begged for mercy. If that didn't work, forget it. He didn't want to go to college. Haha, just be lazy. Mr. Sun smiled, then looked at Huo Yingzhe. Yingzhe, what did you gain from going to college? Huo Yingzhe smiled and said, well, I didn't learn much from the knowledge level alone. I know all that. Boss, didn't you spend 2 years in vain? Zhou Yuanchao was surprised. If you can't learn anything, why go to college? It's a waste of time. He guessed right, the boss was so drunk that he couldn't care less about the beauty. Haha, just because I haven't learned anything new doesn't mean I haven't gained anything. Huo Yingzhe smiled. In the past 2 years, I think the way I think about problems has changed a lot. I have new ideas about some research, and I can see it outside. I went to some foreign science and technology magazines. There were a lot of reports there. Although they were very vague, I learned a lot and I believe it will play a big role in my future work. Well, we'll see how you perform in the future. General Manager Sun has high hopes for Huo Yingzhe. Although Zhou Yuanchao has grown a lot, his talent and way of thinking have certain limitations. However, Huo Yingzhe is top-notch in terms of talent, leadership ability, and thinking ability. Such people are born to be scientific researchers. Doing other professions is a waste, a waste, a waste. Say important things 3 times. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 696. 694. Feeling the expectations of Mr. Sun, Huo Yingzhe felt something in his heart. Okay, I'll work hard. Huo Yingzhe said, turning to look at the kitchen. Mr. Sun, I'm going to say hello to Aunt Li. Go ahead, your Aunt Li always talks about you. Mr. Sun smiled. Now that Huo Yingzhe is here, what changes will it bring to the Institute of Science and Technology? Mr. Sun will wait and see. Chief Engineer Sun knew that he was approaching retirement age. He wanted Huo Yingzhe to come back not only for scientific research needs, but also because he wanted Huo Yingzhe to take the position of chief engineer. The Nanxi Research Institute was a lifelong effort of General Engineer Sun, and he was not at ease if it was left in the hands of others. Although Zhou Yuanchao is good, he always lacks some background and cannot lead the Nanxi Research Institute forward. He can only serve as Huo Yingzhe's right-hand man. Huo Yingzhe stood up, walked to the kitchen door, and said with a smile, "Hello Aunt Li." Okay, Aunt Li said with a smile while cooking. It's very fumy inside. You can go to the living room to drink tea. Wang Ying and I will finish it in a moment. Thank you for your hard work, Huo Yingzhe said with a smile, then I won't be in the way here. I'll eat ready-made food later. Okay, let's go out. Aunt Li kicked people out. The kitchen was really small and there was no space. Huo Yingzhe came out and poured tea for Mr. Sun. Aunt Li's cooking is really good, and the cooking is very fragrant. Huo Yingzhe praised. Mr. Sun, you can eat more. When I see you, I can eat more, Mr. Sun said with a smile, knowing that the reason why Huo Yingzhe delayed returning to the work for so long was because of his family. Now that he is here, he cannot avoid this topic. Yingzhe, your wife, won't the kids come with you? Tian is going to college and will graduate in 1 year. Moreover, the children are young, so it might be better in Nanxi. Besides, Tian has done some business at home and can't leave. Huo Yingzhe answered with a serious tone. A bit melancholy. Seeing his boss like this, Zhou Yuanchao suddenly felt so happy that his wife gave up such a good job and came to stay with him. Oh, then you won't come back in the future? General Engineer Sun asked with concern. Their work unit is different from other units. As long as you accept the project, you can't leave until it is completed. Even if you leave, you still have to be protected. In the final analysis, it is actually surveillance. I don't know. Let's talk about it then. Huo Yingzhe smiled bitterly. If they don't come, I will wait until I finish the project and get a vacation before I can go back. That's all we can do. I'll grant you more holidays when the time comes. Mr. Sun nodded. Don't worry, there are always more solutions than problems. Huo Yingji could only comfort himself in this way. By the way, Chief Engineer Sun, do you know what the embarrassing first-level transfer order in front of you is for? Mr. Sun smiled and said, although this is at home, it's hard to talk about it. Today we are just catching up on old times, and we will talk about work matters in the office tomorrow. Haha, Mr. Sun is still so principled. Huo Yingji praised that it is easy to persist for a week, a month, or a year, but it is difficult to persist for a lifetime. But Mr. Sun did it. If you pay attention, nothing will happen to you, said Mr. Sunday. Anyway, no matter what the task is, for a genius like you, I believe it can be solved easily and you won't let us down. I will try my best. Huo Yingji smiled, feeling the care of his leaders and colleagues, as well as the satisfaction in his career. This is also a kind of happiness, which is different from family happiness. This is how men are. Love is not everything in life, and it would be even more perfect if their career could also go straight to the end of the world. At this time, Huo Yingji felt much less disappointed. Aunt Li and Wang Ying prepared the food and brought it out and put it on the table. Huo Yingji also brought 2 bottles of good wine to Mr. Sunday. Mr. Sun was happy today, and of course he wanted to have a few drinks with his 2 proud men. Aunt Li was so happy to see Mr. Sun that she didn't stop her. Fortunately, both Huo Yingji and Zhou Yuanchao knew that Mr. Sun should not drink excessively, so they just had a few drinks to satisfy their craving. Mr. Sun's drinking capacity was not good either. He only drank 3 ounces and he felt dizzy. After eating something casually, Aunt Li helped him into the house to rest. You 2 keep drinking, Aunt Li said with a smile, not wanting the 2 juniors to be restrained because of the old man. Huo Yingji, Zhou Yuanchao couldn't be so ignorant, and quickly refused. The food cooked by Aunt Li is so delicious. I haven't eaten for a long time. I will drink wine later. Eat well now. Okay, there are a lot of dishes cooked today, so you can eat more, Aunt Li said with a smile, very happy. The national economic situation has improved, materials are abundant, and more things have been distributed to the Nanxi Science and Technology Research Institute. Mr. Sun is the general person in charge here, and the supply has also increased a lot. The old couple couldn't finish their meals, and they often called Zhou Yuanchao and Wang Ying to eat together. The juniors liked her craftsmanship, and Aunt Li was very happy. After having a full meal, Huo Yingji, Zhou Yuanchao and Wang Ying helped wash the pots and dishes before saying goodbye and leaving. It's already 9:30 in the evening. The moon and stars were sparse, and there were 3 long reflections on the ground. Boss, it's great to have you back, Zhou Yuanchao said melancholy. I really hope I can be assigned to your group tomorrow and we can do research together. Huo Yingji smiled and said, you have led the team independently now, so don't be an eyesore around me. I want to go even if I'm an eyesore, Zhou Yuanchao said angrily. After all, I am also a genius second only to you. You still dislike me as your right-hand man. Don't mind it, just follow the organization's arrangements. Huo Yingji smiled. I don't know what the project will be tomorrow. Hey, if it's for other people, it must be an ordinary project. I specially used a first-level transfer order to transfer you back. It's definitely not an ordinary project. Zhou Yuanchao was excited, which was why he wanted to join Huo Yingji's project team. After hearing this, Huo Yingji smiled bitterly and sighed. Important projects usually take a long time, and the schedule for returning home is far away. Boss, you just came here today and already you want to go home? Zhou Yuanchao was surprised and a little confused. Hey, I had already thought about it. After graduating from college, I wanted to transfer to the Civilian Research Institute, but... In front of his good brothers, Huo Yingji did not hide his thoughts. Ah, Zhou Yuanchao was stunned. Boss, you are a genius, how can you live in a place like that? Seeing that her husband's voice was a bit loud, Wang Ying attracted the attention of the bodyguards standing guard nearby. She quickly pulled Zhou Yuanchao and reminded, okay, boss naturally has his own considerations, so don't make a fuss. No matter what, Brother Huo won't still hear. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 697. 695. Seeing his wife say this, Zhou Yuanchao also knew that he had lost his temper. Actually, I know even if you don't tell me, Zhou Yuanchao said with emotion, you can't let go of your sister-in-law, you can't let go of your child. Yeah, I can't bear to leave. Huo Yingzhi smiled bitterly, but I still have to leave. Is it because my sister-in-law doesn't want to come here? Zhou Yuanchao asked. If she doesn't want to leave, my sister-in-law can come together so that the family of four doesn't have to be separated. No, as I said just now, your sister-in-law hasn't graduated yet. Huo Yingzhi didn't want to give too many reasons. To say too much might make them feel uncomfortable. Oh, Zhou Yuanchao said with a smile, when the sister-in-law graduates and brings the children with her, you can reunite together. Let's talk about it then, Huo Yingzhi said. Who knows what will happen in a year? Huo Yingzhi looked up at the sky, his back looking a little melancholy. When they got home, Wang Ying and Zhou Yuanchao went home together, and Huo Yingzhi entered his room at the opposite door. After Huo Yingzhi simply washed up, he lay on the bed, picked up the photo, looked at it carefully twice, kissed it once, and then went to sleep. The next day, Huo Yingzhi got up and ran around the playground to exercise. No matter what you do, you need to have a strong body. After running, I went back to take a shower, went to the cafeteria to eat, and then went to Mr. Sun's office. When Qian Miao Miao heard that Huo Yingzhi was coming, she and Tang Xinliang came to Mr. Sun's office. Boss, you are finally here, Qian Miao Miao said excitedly, we can work together again. Qian Miao Miao was too enthusiastic, so Huo Yingzhi quickly backed away. The man is married and the woman is married. Just keep your distance. Don't worry, you are already a mother, so you can't be so out of tune. Huo Yingzhi reminded that although their relationship was just colleagues, it was too warm and not good, and her husband was still around. Boss, you are just an old-fashioned person, Qian Miao Miao said with a smile. In the evening, ask Zhou Yuanchao, Wang Ying, and you to go to my house for dinner together. Of course I'd be happy if someone invited me to dinner, Huo Yingzhi said with a smile, not refusing the kindness of his former colleagues. Tang Xinliang smiled, grabbed Qian Miao Miao, and said, okay, don't talk anymore. Let's talk about it at dinner tonight. Let the boss go in now. Mr. Sun is already waiting inside. Let them talk first, business matters. Qian Miao Miao smiled and said, haha, I almost delayed the boss's business. Boss, let's go to work first and talk about anything we have to say during dinner in the evening. Well, see you tonight. Huo Yingzhi nodded, walked into the office building, and entered Chief Engineer Sun's office. Huo Yingzhi knocked on the door and heard a voice from inside, so he went in. Yingzhi is here, please take a seat, Mr. Sun said with a smile. There was a thick brown paper bag on the table. After Huo Yingzhi finished, Mr. Sun smiled, took out a document and said, sign it. After you sign it, you can read it? Okay. Huo Yingzhi nodded, took out a pen from his pocket, and signed it. Then General Manager Sun pushed the document in front of Huo Yingzhi and said, you can read it now. Huo Yingzhi nodded, picked up the folder, opened it and took a look. He was a little surprised, but also very happy. The research institute had already started studying this. But it's right to think about it, you can't keep importing other people's products. It's expensive, and you can't buy enough of it, and it feels uncomfortable to be pinched by others. So it's this one. Huo Yingzhi smiled, I have some ideas in my mind, and I have thought about it before. It shouldn't be difficult to research special materials for making engines. Ah, Mr. Sun was stunned, are you really sure? Huo Yingzhi nodded. How long will it take? General Engineer Sun asked. According to the plan, The task period was stipulated in 1.5 years. Huo Yingzhi smiled and said, 7 or 8 months. 7 or 8 months, Mr. Sun was stunned. The time was half less than expected. Are you really sure? I'm sure, Huo Yingzhi smiled, then looked at the deadline for completing the task above, and smiled again. The deadline is 1.5 years. If I can complete it ahead of schedule, can the remaining time be used as my vacation? Chief Engineer Sun was stunned again, and said with a wry smile, after completing the task, I don't think about the honors and rewards, but I actually think about the vacation. I can't help it. My wife and children are not around, and I feel so panicked. Huo Yingzhi spread his hands, looking lonely. Even though General Engineer Sun is the top leader of Nanshi Research Institute, he cannot grant 7 or 8 months of vacation at a time. Okay, you work first, and I will naturally give you a long vacation when the time comes. However, I can also tell you for sure that without special circumstances, there will not be a vacation as long as 7 or 8 months. 3 or 2 months is about the same. General Manager Sun will not go around in circles with Huo Yingzhi, lest this brat lose his temper when he doesn't have so much time off. Huo Yingzhi smiled, nodded, and said, well, okay, I'll note it down. Now that I've got the project, what about the staffing? Zhou Yuanchao, Tangzin Liang, Qian Miao Miao, and 2 young people assigned to Wu Hao and Qian Feng. Chief Engineer Sun said, if you have any difficulties, you can talk to the materials department. Huo Yingzhi nodded and said, okay, we are all old acquaintances, no need to get along. Well, help me train the 2 newcomers, Mr. Sun said. The older generation of researchers will retire sooner or later. People of your age must work hard to step up. Yes, Chief Engineer Sunday. Huo Yingzhi nodded. The waves behind the Yangtze River push the waves ahead. This is an unchanging law. Without new people, Nanshi Research Institute will be eliminated sooner or later. Okay, Xiao Zhang will take you to your office, Mr. Sun said. Work hard. I will. Huo Yingzhi nodded, stood up, bowed to Mr. Sun, and then came out. Huo Yingzhi's office is in a sunny room on the 2nd floor. The office is very large, with 2 whole rooms, and there are some magazines and books on them. There are many folders on the big desk. On the wall behind it is a very large safe. Huo Yingzhi opened the window to let the office breathe, then walked to the desk, took out the information, and started checking it. The above are all special departments that collect some foreign information through some channels. Although it is not very detailed, it also lists some advanced engine material information from abroad, especially Germany, the United States, and Japan. Foreign countries are already at the forefront through research and development. Although Huo Yingzhi felt that the task was heavy, it was not difficult and was within his capabilities. Huo Yingzhi looked at the information and already had a prototype in his mind. The material cost was low and the quality was good. He took out a stack of draft paper from the drawer and wrote and drew on it in an orderly manner. Each complex and neat chemical formula appeared on the snow-white paper from Huo Yingzhi's pen. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 698. 696. While Huo Yingzhi was calculating, someone knocked on the door outside. Zhou Yuanchao, Qian Miao Miao, Tangzin Liang, Qian Feng, and Wu Hao came together. Huo Yingzhi smiled and said, there are stools over there. Bring them over and sit around the table. Several people moved the benches over and sat around Huo Yingzhi, while Zhou Yuanchao sat opposite. Everyone started discussing new projects. Boss, what project have we been assigned? Zhou Yuanchao asked impatiently, eager to work with the boss. Huo Yingzhi took out the confidential document, put it on the table, and said, You guys sign it? Zhou Yuanchao took the lead in signing his name on it, and others followed suit. This was a necessary process. Our new project is to study special materials for engines, Huo Yingzhi said. Compared with other projects, this is already difficult. But it is difficult for others, but it is not difficult for him. Ah! Is that it? Zhou Yuanchao smiled bitterly. No wonder I had to use a first-level transfer order to transfer you here. What's wrong? Huo Yingzhi asked. What news did you hear? I heard that this Yanjing Institute has been studying it for 2 years. Now that this project is in our hands, there must be no progress there, Zhou Yuanchao said with a bitter smile. This is a tough nut to crack. Haha, don't worry, I will help you chew this hard nut, Huo Yingzhi smiled. Be confident, I already have a rough idea in my mind. Really? Boss, Qian Miao Miao was excited. She really hoped that no matter what project she got, she could finish it ahead of time like before. Huo Yingzhi smiled and said, when have I ever said such big things? Well, you can go back now. I'll give you 3 days to hand over the work. Then we can work together. Well, I'll go back and hand over the situation right now. Qian Miao Miao smiled, eager to join Huo Yingzhi's team. Everyone was also very excited, especially the 2 newcomers. When they were outside, they heard Qian Miao Miao talking about Huo Yingzhi's greatness, and they also wanted to admire the genius through work. They went back separately, and Huo Yingzhi continued working. For a whole morning, Huo Yingzhi wrote at his desk without stopping. Look at the time, it's time for lunch. Huo Yingzhi got up, opened the safe, checked inside and out, then put the scrap paper and document bag in, set up a barrier, and locked it. No one in this world can open the safe except Huo Yingzhi. At the same time, Huo Yingzhi didn't want a mole to appear in his team. He had already used his spiritual consciousness to scan their consciousness just now. Fortunately, they were all positive. He could safely share the analyzed information with them. Zhou Yuanchao asked Huo Yingzhi to go to dinner together. Some people who knew him before saw Huo Yingzhi and came over to say hello. After dinner, Huo Yingzhi went back to take a nap for an hour before returning to the office and continuing to improve various materials. At 6 o'clock in the evening, he got off work on time. He didn't want to work overtime for an extra minute. For 3 whole days, Huo Yingzhi followed the work schedule. He didn't be late or leave early, but he didn't work overtime either. 3 days later, 5 people came to report. Huo Yingzhi has already prepared the completed information and plans. According to their abilities, assign corresponding work and work together to get twice the result with half the effort and high efficiency. Zhou Yuanchao had 2 centimeters of information in his hands. Qian Miao Miao and Tang Xinliang also had information in their hands. Even Wu Hao and Qian Feng had 1 centimeter of information in their hands. Boss, is this the plan you made in the past 3 days? Qian Miao Miao was stunned. Every time he gets a project, the person in charge will set a planning goal and determine the direction. This is a very important and critical step. If the person in charge takes the wrong direction in this step, it will cause the entire project to be in vain and start over from scratch, which is time-consuming and labor-intensive. Yes, Huo Yingzhi nodded. Your desks are on the desks behind my bookshelf. When you are not looking at them, you must give these materials to me and keep them in my safe. Zhou Yuanchao has become accustomed to the boss's style and said with a smile, from now on, I will definitely follow the boss. The one who is popular and the one who drinks spicy food. Okay, no need to talk about this. Let's go read the information and we will discuss it tomorrow, Huo Yingzhi explained. Everyone can express their opinions. If you have good suggestions, we can add them. Yes, boss. Zhou Yuanchao nodded. Let's take a walk and read the information quickly. If everyone can complete this project, we will definitely reward you a lot. Everyone is young, and they value honors and awards because they are related to professional title ratings and living standards. The living materials distributed by the institute are only enough for basic living. If you want to live well, eat well, and use well, then you have to work hard. As long as you complete the task with quality and quantity, you will always get a lot of rewards. The family will not have to worry about food and drink, and you can also send some things to your parents back home to honor them. Let's look at the information together. Huo Yingji continued to write and draw at his desk. These materials are not allowed to be taken out of the office. When you go out, you need to hand the materials to Huo Yingji. In this way, Huo Yingji began busy research work at the Institute of Science and Technology. Huo Yingji was very busy during the day and had no time to miss his family. At night, I feel lonely. Unable to be with his wife, Huo Yingji could only look at the photos every day. General Manager Sun affirmed Huo Yingji's work and encouraged him to do a good job. Huo Yingji's project is proceeding in an orderly manner. If some raw materials were not lacking in trace elements, their experiments would be smoother. The bright moon thousands of miles away expresses lovesickness, but Huo Yingji and He Tiantian love each other deeply, so they don't feel bitter. If you can't meet in person, write letters often. Huo Yingji was confident. Anyway, letters sent from the research institute did not need to be stamped. They were sent directly to Director Liu. After checking, Director Liu would affix stamps from other places and change them to the addresses of other units before sending them out. Letters sent by swan geese are the most romantic medium of communication after being unable to meet in person. Director Liu was already used to Huo Yingji's letters. If he didn't see a letter from Huo Yingji one day, he would turn it over inside and out. Was it lost? Love saint, indeed love saint. However, Director Liu also lamented in his heart that it was not easy for these two young people to come together after going through so many hardships. No matter whether he is sending or receiving a letter, Director Liu will always send the letter out as soon as possible after checking it, or bring it to Huo Yingji. I had often dealt with Director Liu before, so I was familiar with him, so Huo Yingji had nothing to be embarrassed about. Those letters were all addressed to his wife and children, so they were reasonable and legal. The Sweetness of the Seventies. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 699. 697. When Huo Yingji received the family portrait drawn by his daughter, Huo Yingji's eyes were a little moist. Although the child is small, I still miss him. It's just that he is worried that if he doesn't go back for a year and a half, his two children may forget him. Thinking of this, Huo Yingji immediately wrote back to He Tiantian and expressed his concerns. When He Tiantian received the reply, she shook her head and laughed. This man was actually worried that his child would forget him. How could you forget? This big idiot. Under her deliberate guidance, the child had to talk to Huo Yingji's photo every morning, say hello to his father, and kiss him good night before going to bed at night. He Tiantian told Huo Yingji in the letter not to worry, the child would not forget him. Huo Yingji was moved when he received his wife's letter. As long as you don't forget him, that's better than anything else. The relationship between the two did not become indifferent because of separation, but they missed each other even more. It's the Mid-Autumn Festival soon. He Tiantian prepared festive gifts for relatives in Yanjing and Qijia village, and had already sent them to them early. In the past few days, business at Sanfenqiao braised meat shop and pastry shop has been particularly good. There are several reasons for the good business. On the one hand, there are more and more regular customers in Sanfenqiao and the taste is good. On the other hand, it is also the fundamental reason. People's incomes are higher and their lives are getting better than before. As the Mid-Autumn Festival approaches, there are 6 pigs, 50 chickens, 30 ducks, and 30 geese every day. Sometimes when they are sold out, there are still people coming to buy them. The pastry shop sales, especially those in gift boxes, are several times higher than before. All employees work overtime and work overtime. Seeing how hard everyone was working, he Tian suggested, Uncle Son, don't work overtime at night. Do less and earn less. It doesn't matter. No, I don't sell much on weekdays. Let's take advantage of the festival to sell more and make more money. Sun Sihao said, if you feel bad about it, you can pay more wages and benefits during the Mid-Autumn Festival. Is this what everyone thinks? He Tian asked. As long as her body can hold on, it doesn't matter if she pays more money. Yes, Sun Sihao said with a smile, everyone is tired now, and they are happy to make money. Okay, I'll prepare some when I go back. He Tian nodded and gave everyone a surprise. According to the sales volume, the profit will be 2 or 3 times that of before, and the pastry shop estimates it will be 4 to 5 times. He Tian can't be stingy, everyone is busy, so the benefits for the festival are the same, 200 yuan per person, 1 chicken, 1 duck, 1 goose, 10 pounds of meat, all braised, and a total of 10 pounds of various pastries. On the afternoon of August 15th, after selling all the snacks and braised pork in the shop, I rested for half a day and went home to celebrate the festival. Thank you for your hard work. Happy Mid-Autumn Festival. This is just a little thought. He Tian took out red envelopes, one for each person, and then a big gift bag for each person, as well as a basket of meat. Everyone became more energetic after seeing so many things. I had heard before that the leader would express something, but I didn't expect that the expression would be so effective. Not only would he be given a bonus, but he would also be given so much meat. This is better than the treatment at work. Thinking of this, they cherish their current jobs even more. Tang King he didn't expect He Tian to be so generous. She was fired from a state-owned hotel before because she offended the leader there. Fortunately, I listened to my friend's advice and came to work here. Although the work was a bit tiring, the 2 apprentices did most of the work. If you don't get angry, it doesn't matter if you are tired. Thank you, leader. Everyone thanked them one after another. These bonuses and benefits are very gratifying, but they know that the salary at the end of the month is even more gratifying. Both shops are paid out based on 10% of profits. The more you buy this month, the more you will make, and the 10% profit will be greater than before. You're welcome. Let's go home and enjoy the holidays. He Tian smiled, by the way, you must check it before you leave. Our shop is doing well now, so we still need to leave someone to look after the shop at night. Qianchikan thought for a while and said, I'll just watch. Anyway, I'll be alone when I go back. Sun Sihao and his wife had a good relationship with Qianchikan. They had no children and were lonely when they returned home. He said, Tian, don't worry. The 3 of us are watching the shop and celebrating the festival here. He Tian nodded and said, thank you for your hard work. It's not hard, it's the same no matter where you live. Sun Sihao smiled, it's getting late, Tian, you should go back too. Okay, I'll go back first. He Tian agreed. Although Huo Yingzhe was not here, there were still children, father-in-law, mother-in-law, and Grandma Wang were here, so they had to have a good holiday. When He Tian went back, she also brought a big gift bag and a basket of braised meat, chicken, and duck. In order to cater to the Mid-Autumn Festival, Sanfan Kiao made mooncakes. Due to limited raw materials, there are not many types of mooncakes. There are only 4 kinds, the classic 5-nut filling, red bean paste filling, mung bean paste filling, and meat floss filling. Zhang Lifang and Huo Jekan are already waiting at home. The food was ready. When He Tian came back, she found the snack plate and placed the mooncakes and snacks on the table. He Tian took out the last small jar of peach blossom wine and had a drink with her mother-in-law and Grandma Wang. Huo Jekan drank liquor and drank it by himself. If your son is here, you can drink and chat with him. The family always felt incomplete without Huo Yingzhe. Fortunately, there were still children laughing and joking, which diluted the disappointment. At night, when the children were asleep, he Tian put away the pots and pans, and Zhang Lifang came over to help. Tian, I feel sorry for you. Zhang Lifang felt even more sorry for he Tian when her son was away. Not only did she have to go to school, but she also had to take care of her children and run a shop. It's so hard. Mom, I'm not wronged. He Tian smiled, this is fine. As long as we are safe and healthy, it is better than anything else. Hearing he Tian's words, Zhang Lifang felt even more sorry for he Tian. What a good boy, Zhang Lifang said, if you have any difficulties, don't keep it to yourself. Tell us. Your father-in-law and I will definitely help you. Well, I know, he Tian nodded, it's really nothing. We have passed the most difficult time. Now it's just a temporary separation, it's nothing. When brother Yingzhe has a vacation, he will go home. Yes, Zhang Lifang said, there are too many things that we have no control over. Yingzhe is now a national scientific researcher and has his responsibilities. As family members, we can only take care of the family so that he has no worries. I understand, Mom, he Tian said, I will take good care of the children and respect you until brother Yingzhe comes back. After cleaning up, Zhang Lifang went back. Huo Jekan was drinking tea while waiting for Zhang Lifang. It's a big holiday, why do you look a little unhappy? Huo Jekan asked in confusion. Weren't you very happy before? Men are big-hearted. If Yingzhe is not here, I can't comfort Tian. Zhang Lifang said angrily, you are so young, you have to live in two places. Hey, Tian is aggrieved. The Sweetness of the Seventies. Author, Chi Xing Cao. Chapter 700. 698. The sensible he Tian is annoying. Huo Jekan said with emotion, there is nothing we can do about this, we can't help it. That's how I comforted Tian. Zhang Lifang said, fortunately, Tian can think openly and has no complaints. We really married a good daughter-in-law. That's right, Huo Jekan said, the two of us have been watching each other since we were children. How can we be different? Tian is capable. Logically speaking, I should be happy. I didn't feel that when Yingzhe was around before. But now that Yingzhe is not around, and Tian is so powerful, do you think? Women have many things on their minds. Zhang Lifang already has such worries. No, Huo Jekan smiled, we don't understand others, but we don't understand Tian yet. That girl didn't dislike Yingzhe when he was in such a difficult situation. We share the same joys and sorrows. Sometimes it is easier to share adversity, but not many can continue to share wealth and wealth. Zhang Lifang said worriedly, I wish I had overthought it. You just think too much, Huo Jekan said, Tian is a smart girl, you can just talk in front of me, but you can't say it in front of Tian. It will chill Tian's heart. That is different from what my sister-in-law does. What a difference! Huo Jekan reminded Zhang Lifang with serious words. Zhang Lifang nodded and said, I'm just talking in front of you, not in front of Tian. Anyway, let's do our best with family matters and don't let Tian get tired, otherwise Yingzhe will blame us for not taking good care of us when he comes back. Sweet. I won't complain, but that kid Yingzhe will definitely not want to go to work when he sees Tian suffering and being wronged. By then, everyone will know about it, which will not be good for Yingzhe's future development. Huo Jekan sighed and said, I just hope that my son can work at the research institute with peace of mind and not cause any trouble. The worries of the couple were hidden in their hearts. He Tian looked at the two sleeping children beside her, took out the letter paper, and started to write a letter to Huo Yingzhe. She wrote 3 pieces of paper before stopping. Put it in an envelope, put a stamp on it, and send it out tomorrow. Now we can only get to know each other through writing letters, so much so that he Tian feels very cordial when she sees the mailbox. He Tian kissed the man smiling softly in the photo frame, turned off the light and went to sleep. There is no holiday during the Mid-Autumn Festival, so we go to work and school as usual the next day. At the weekend, when He Tian went to the store, she saw everyone looking tired. "What's going on?" He Tian asked. "It's been several days since the Mid-Autumn Festival. Everyone has changed shifts. Haven't you had a rest yet? It's time for a shift change and a break. But before the festival, we had to sell 6 pigs a day. I thought sales would be less after the festival, but I didn't expect many customers to come to buy. Now we need 6 pigs a day, it's for sale. This will make it harder for everyone," Sun Sihao replied. "It's the same at the dim sum shop." "Ah," He Tian was surprised. "Then I'll go take a look. If it's really too busy, then hire people. You can't just lay down all the people because the business is good." "Okay, this time I suggest not to look for people from acquaintances, but to recruit people openly," Sun Sihao said. "If you recruit too many people, even though you know the basics, but there are too many people, it is easy to form small groups." He Tian nodded and said, "Well, I will write a notice later and recruit people. Uncle Sun, please tell everyone not to introduce relatives over." "Okay," Sun Sihao nodded. "By the way, Tian, please try to persuade Brother Qian when you have time. He was drunk on the Mid-Autumn Festival." "What's wrong?" He Tian was surprised. "Uncle Qian is in a bad mood. Originally, his son said he would go home in the summer. Brother Qian worked overtime to renovate the old house. Everything was done. However, his son's wife has not come back for a long time. I don't know what other things are going on, and I am worried about being sad. His son hasn't come back." He Tian suddenly realized, Uncle Qian will be worried. "Okay, I'll go and persuade him later." He Tian looked inside and outside and found that everyone was indeed very tired, and it was up to the human resources to recruit people. Some people heard that the shop was recruiting people and came over to intercede. He Tian asked him to get an application form, fill it out, and then interview and select the best candidates. Although everyone was a little disappointed, they also got an explanation from Sun Sihao. In order to keep their current jobs, everyone was a little unhappy at most, but there was no resentment. He Tian found Qian and didn't want to say more words of comfort. "Uncle Qian, I know from Uncle Sun that you have been confused recently. Instead of thinking about it here, why don't you write to me? I'll ask someone to send it to you to inquire about your son's situation in Xiangjiang." Qian thought about it. Instead of sulking and smoking here, he might as well ask someone to inquire. "Thank you, Tian," Qian said. "I was just worried that something would happen to them." "Okay, don't think too much about it yet," He Tian smiled. "I'll come to the shop tomorrow and give me the letter." "Well, I'll write a letter when I get back from get off work," Qian said. He was worried that his wife and son would dislike him and be unwilling to come back to see him. After all, he did so many bad things when he was young. "I didn't know that there were relatives here before." Qian had enough to eat, and the whole family was not hungry. There were no worries in his heart, and he was happy every day. "Now that I know there are relatives there, I feel quite worried." This is human nature, He Tian understands. The next day, He Tian came over and Qian handed her a thick letter. After returning home, He Tian gave the letter to her father-in-law Huo Jekan. "Dad, this is a letter from Uncle Qian to his son in Xiangjiang. I wanted to ask. I agreed to come over in the summer, but now it's the Mid-Autumn Festival and I haven't seen him back. I want to ask if something happened." He Tian said softly. There is no channel, so I can only ask my father-in-law to help." "Okay, I will send this letter as soon as possible," Huo Jekan said. Now he especially likes to deal with such a period. Maybe he can get a large amount of investment to better develop Nanji's economy. "Thank you, Dad," He Tian thanked him. You're welcome. This is also to facilitate future work and increase communication, Huo Jekan said with a smile. These foreign companies generally have strong funds and advanced technology, which play an important role in promoting domestic economic development. After a week of screening, the braised pork shop recruited 5 people, 2 middle-aged men, 1 middle-aged woman, and 2 young girls. The pastry shop found 2 young men and 1 young girl. This greatly alleviates the labor shortage in the shop and allows for both work and rest. At the same time, He Tian, Sun Sihao, and Qian Chicken also discussed a more reasonable salary method, and everyone was happy. Sun Sihao and Qian Chicken focused on their work. Here at He Tian, Sun Sihao and his wife made more than 8,000 yuan, which was simply impossible before. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 701. 699. Sun Sihao was also smart. After making money, he bought a house and rented it out to earn rent. Wu Yaoliang's father and cousin also made a lot of money by supplying goods to He Tian's shop, and the two families lived a prosperous life. However, He Tian often reminds all suppliers that they must maintain quality and quantity. If there is a problem, the supply qualification will be cancelled. This is a very rare opportunity. Wu Yaoliang's father and cousin take it very seriously. All chickens, ducks, geese, and pigs must undergo strict inspection before being sent over. If there is any problem, they will not accept it directly. The staff responsible for slaughtering and temporarily feeding these livestock and poultry in the suburbs will check carefully every time. When they get to the kitchen, Qian Chicken will check them personally. Therefore, after such a long time since the store was opened, the store has been running smoothly without any problems. This has a lot to do with He Tian's management style and performance appraisal. Everyone is very dedicated and very enthusiastic in order to keep such a good job. In the blink of an eye, it is late autumn and October, and the temperature is already very low. It was windy outside. He Tian was wearing a windbreaker, a white turtleneck sweater underneath, and a belt around her waist, which outlined her slender waist. Yuan Qianke has been paying attention to He Tian recently. He found that Huo Yingjia hadn't come to pick up He Tian for a long time, and his mind was a little quick. He Tian walked into the classroom and sat next to Kui Ying. Only then did Yuan Qianke retract his gaze. Qin Li tapped He Tian's back and asked, He Tian, I noticed that this semester, why are you the only one coming to school? Where is your partner? You used to go to school and drop him off at the classroom door, and pick him up in person after school. He Tian smiled and said, he has already gone to work, so naturally he doesn't have time to pick me up. I still want to read, so let's not talk about it for now. Turned his head and started reading seriously. No matter what happened to Qin Li, but with Wang Bing's relationship, He Tian didn't want to have too much interaction with Qin Li. Yuan Qianke was nearby and naturally heard He Tian's answer. Hey, Huo Yingjia just went to work, it wasn't that there was something wrong with their relationship. Qin Li is very smart and she likes Yuan Qianke. If she kept questioning Yuan Qianke, it would affect their relationship, so she asked He Tian the question and asked He Tian to say it in person. Yuan Qianke could hear it and knew that it was impossible. With Yuan Qianke's courage, he would give up if he couldn't do such a forced thing. Sure enough, when Qin Lili looked at Yuan Qianke again, Yuan Qianke had already lowered his head to read a book and did not look at He Tian secretly. Qin Li was already very satisfied with this result. A morning course, very compact. Huang Jingli was a little tired. When school was over, He Tian supported Huang Jingli. Where is Wu Yaoliang? He Tian asked. Usually when school is over, Wu Yaliang is waiting at the door to pick up Huang Jingli. He went to the factory with the teacher today and was not at school today. Huang Jingli said with a smile, how about we eat in the cafeteria today? Okay, He Tian nodded. It was cold and she didn't want to go home. Riding a bicycle back and forth was a bit tiring. The two of them ate in the cafeteria at noon. Kui Ying and Huashan ate together. There were only 2 classes in the afternoon, and Wu Yaliang hadn't come yet, so He Tian sent Huang Jingli home before going back. After walking for a few minutes, she thought that her notebook was at Huang Jingli's place, so she wanted to take it back and go back to review it in the evening. Today's class is a bit esoteric and I don't understand many knowledge points. Unexpectedly, as soon as he came in, he saw Lin Xiru grabbing Huang Jingli's hair. Huang Jingli didn't dare to resist in order to protect her belly. He Tian was stunned. This Lin Xiru was really lingering. Lin Xiru, you'd better let Huang Jingli go now, He Tian scolded. If something happens to Huang Jingli, you will be guilty of beating a pregnant woman and intentionally causing injury. Lin Xiru was a little panicked when she saw He Tian coming. This is between me and Huang Jingli, please don't worry about it. Lin Xiru calmed down after the initial panic. He Tian sneered, looked at Lin Xiru with disdain and said, haha, you are a shameless woman. Huang Jingli doesn't owe you anything. You provoke her again and again. Huang Jingli doesn't care about you, but you are getting more and more angry. It's a slap in the face. Go away, the grudge between us, go away, Lin Xiru said angrily. Why is He Tian back again? I clearly saw that she had left just now. Just then, the door opened. Father Wu and Mother Wu came to visit their daughter-in-law. When they saw their daughter-in-law being pulled by her hair, they were shocked and said, Tian, who is this? Why are you bullying my daughter-in-law? It's the classmate who has been threatening Sister Jingli, He Tian explained, letting the 2 elderly people understand the situation. Hurry up and let go of Jingli, Wu's father scolded. His daughter-in-law was pregnant, and if she moved away, her grandson might be gone. Lin Xiru panicked. She didn't expect so many people to come. She originally wanted to ask Huang Jingli for money, but Huang Jingli didn't give it. She wanted to teach Huang Jingli a lesson, but she didn't mean to kill Huang Jingli. Get out of the way, Lin Xiru said, let me out. He Tian, Wu's father and Wu's mother did not dare to step forward, so they could only get out of the way, hoping that Lin Xiru could let go of Huang Jingli as soon as possible. Finally arriving at the door, Lin Xiru let go of Huang Jingli and ran out. Unexpectedly, Wu Yaliang came in from outside. Seeing her parents in shock, she grabbed Lin Xiru. He Tian stepped forward to support Huang Jingli and asked hurriedly, Sister Jingli, are you okay? Huang Jingli straightened her back, rubbed her belly, and shook her head, I'm fine. Wu's mother heard that her daughter-in-law was fine, and she was no longer worried. Like a lioness, she rushed forward to deal with women. It was not appropriate for men to use force, so she did it. Wu's mother stepped forward, grabbed Lin Xiru's hair, slapped her face several times, and cursed, you shameless thing, you have bullied our daughter-in-law several times and spread rumors. I didn't want to argue with you, but you still took advantage of me. After that, she slapped her several times. Wu's mother is a very sincere and capable rural woman. She is strong, and when she is angry, the strength of her hands is even greater. Let me go, Lin Xiru struggled, closed her eyes and punched and kicked. It was just that Wu's mother had come early in the morning with the delivery cart, and she was wearing thick clothes, so it didn't hurt when she hit her body, but when she hit Lin Xiru, she screamed in pain. If I don't beat you up today, you really don't know who you can and can't mess with. Wu's mother continued to scold and beat her. When she got tired of beating, she pushed Lin Xiru away and said, get out of here quickly. If you don't, I'll break your legs. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 702. 700. Originally, Lin Xiru wanted to rush forward, but when she saw Wu's mother taking out a pole from the door, she was so frightened that she backed away. You, just wait and see, Lin Xiru said harshly, and the hero left in dejection without suffering the immediate loss. I have suffered such great humiliation today, and I must avenge myself. Mother Wu was panting and said to He Tian, thanks to Tian today, if there was no one, I don't know what this woman would do. How about we go report the crime? Wu Yaliang was worried. Such a woman is really disgusting and impossible to guard against. Wu's father thought for a while and said, what's the use of reporting the crime? I can only reprimand the woman a few times, but I can't arrest her. After all, no real harm was caused. Forget it, be careful in the future and don't leave Jingli alone here. After the exam, I will take it back to my hometown. Mother Wu thought for a while and said, old man, we can sell all the piglets, chickens, ducks, and geese at home. Let's not wait until the end of the year when the prices are higher. We have cleaned them all. I will take care of Jingli here. Mom, isn't this good? Although Huang Jingli was moved, she also wanted to have more income for her family. Mother Wu waved her hand and said, there's nothing wrong with it. Money can't be earned in a day or two. Your health is important. Anyway, we still have your father-in-law and cousin at home. Our family is not short of money. Father Wu nodded and said, okay, let's do it. Let's go back tomorrow morning. You pack your luggage, I clean up the poultry, and you come over to accompany your daughter-in-law. He Tian suggested, Wu Yaliang, I suggest you take Sister Jingli to the hospital for a checkup. Wu Yaliang nodded and said, okay, let's go and have a look. Wu's father and Wu's mother also agreed. Then you go. I still have children at home, so I won't follow. He Tian said goodbye. The Wu family is not short of people and there is no need for her to follow. Okay, I have something to do at home today, so I'll invite you over for dinner another day. Mother Wu smiled and personally saw He Tian out of the house. After He Tian returned, it took half an hour longer than usual. The two children had been waiting at the door for a long time, looking eagerly at the road under the big elm tree. He Tian got off the bicycle and said with a smile, are you here to pick up Mom? Yes, yes, Huo Ruiman said, I'm hungry, eat, eat. Okay, let's eat. He Tian smiled, putting the two children in the front seat of the car, and she pushed them in the back seat. Grandma Wang followed with a smile and said, seeing that you are not coming, and the two children are not eating. You just asked me to open the door and wait for you at the entrance of the alley. Hey, the child is too big to take care of. Thank you for the hard work, Grandma Wang. He Tian said, later she would advise Grandma Wang not to let the child out. If someone came to snatch the child, she wouldn't be able to chase her even as a little old lady. Come on. When he got home, He Tian fed the child first. Play with your children at night, wait until they are tired, wash them, read them bedtime stories, and coax them to sleep. Huo Yingja usually helps with these things. Now that Huo Yingja is away, He Tian cannot be left behind and takes good care of the child. Like Huo Yingja, these two babies are her lifelong treasures. The next day was the weekend. He Tian took her children out to play in the morning and went to the shop to check the accounts in the afternoon. Seeing more and more money in the ledger, He Tian was very happy and deposited the profits in the bank. There was no good investment yet. On Monday morning, He Tian came to school as usual. I found many people gathered around the bulletin board, talking about it. He Tian never liked such excitement, so she pushed her bicycle and walked quickly forward with her school bag on her back. Tian, wait, Kui Ying ran out from inside, holding a piece of paper torn from the wall. He Tian was stunned, took a look at it, and cursed, shameless, So damn shameless. This Linziru will never end. Yeah, I thought it would be over like this, but I didn't expect that Linziru would get worse. Kui Ying said. Huang Jingli hasn't come to school yet, so I don't know yet. When she comes to school, she will definitely see it, too. I don't know if she can stand this excitement. At this moment, Wu Yaoliang and Huang Jingli came to study. He Tian quickly put away the paper in her hand, not wanting Huang Jingli to see it. Kui Ying also cooperated. Why are you two so obedient? Huang Jingli was surprised. It's okay. You look good. You must have eaten delicious food at home. Kui Ying smiled and winked at Huashan beside her. Yeah, my mother-in-law came and cooked me a lot of delicious food. I feel like I've gained a lot of weight on my body, Huang Jingli said with a smile, in a good mood, as if she was not affected by Linziru. Huashan took Wu Yaoliang to class and told him what happened. When Wu Yaoliang heard this, he cursed, "It's so shameless. I have to take Jingli home quickly. She attaches great importance to reputation. Now she is being slandered. Many people in the school who don't know the truth may believe that she will definitely can't stand it." That's okay, Huashan didn't stop him and asked Wu Yaoliang to go find Huang Jingli. He Tian, Huang Jingli and their group arrived in the classroom. The originally noisy classroom suddenly became quiet, even quieter than when the teacher came. He Tian and Kui Ying looked at each other and felt anxious. It's over, people in the class probably saw the slanderous paper. Huang Jingli didn't know why, so she turned to look at He Tian and asked, "The class is getting weirder and weirder today. Why did they suddenly stop talking?" He Tian smiled bitterly, the matter could no longer be hidden. Some of the classmates in the class expressed doubts and did not fully believe the content. Some who had an estranged relationship with Huang Jingli or were not good at it had their eyes twinkling and gloating. "Sister Jingli, why don't you go back and rest today? There aren't many classes today anyway," He Tian suggested, hoping to persuade Huang Jingli to go back and then talk to her slowly. Huang Jingli smiled and said, "Don't worry, I'm in good health and can go to class. Come on, come to your seat. Class will start in a while." Huang Jingli also urged He Tian and Kui Ying to sit down. However, Huang Jingli arrived at her seat and saw a piece of paper on her seat. Kui Ying was stunned and wanted to grab it. But Huang Jingli stood in front and had already picked it up and looked at it. Ah, Huang Jingli was stunned for a moment, and then her breathing became rapid. She had already guessed that it was Linziru who did it. This shameless woman knows how to spread rumors, and she will die. Seeing this, He Tian said, "Sister Jingli, calm down. There is a child in your belly. If you are angry, you have been fooled by that Linziru." Kui Ying also tried to persuade her, "Yes, Huang Jingli, calm down, calm down.